Good afternoon and welcome to Superscreen News at 12, reaching you live from Lagos. I am Olamide Onka. Many thanks for joining us. The River State Governor, Nyesom Wike, has described the publishing of names of alleged looters by the federal government as an unfortunate act of irresponsibility. Wike said Nigerians are experiencing the height of irresponsibility in governance with the federal government's refusal to obey the rule of law. He said the act of irresponsibility is worsened by the fact that the party's leader standing trial was excluded by the APC federal government. He also said INEC has presently constituted is setting the stage for the rigging of the 2019 general elections, and Rivers people have the capacity to resist INEC and APC rigging machine in Rivers State. The governor disclosed this during a courtesy visit by civil society organizations of Rivers State at the government house in Port Harcourt. Away from that, the board of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has announced the indefinite suspension of 6 directors of the organization. The suspension of the affected officials by the newly inaugurated board is in connection with the ongoing probe of the finances of NEMA by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. According to a statement issued by the head media and public relations, NEMA, Sani Dati, those placed in suspension include the Director of Finance and Accounts, the Director of Special Duties, and the Director of Risk Reduction, and others include the pilot in charge of Air Ambulance and Aviation Unit, the Chief Maintenance Officer, and the Director of Welfare. Kogi State West Senator Vino Melai has urged the Supreme Court of Nigeria to declare the petition submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, seeking its recall as illegal. The senator, in an appeal he filed against the March 16, 2018 judgment of the Abuja Division of a Court of Appeal, also urged the Apex Court to declare the recall process as illegal. Melai had on Tuesday filed 7 grounds notice of appeal against the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which had dismissed the suit instituted before the Federal High Court in Abuja to challenge the validity of the process of his recall, which commenced in June last year. The Court of Appeal had in its March 16, 2018 judgment held that contrary to Melai's contention, the 90 days provided by the 1999 constitutions for the recall process to be concluded had not run out but had been paused since June 2017. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, says the Nigerian Army will continue to sustain its commitment to Nigeria's security. Buratai disclosed this at the 2nd edition of the 2018 Procurement Awareness Seminar held in Abuja with the theme Optimizing the Operational Capabilities of the Nigerian Army Through an Effective Procurement System. Buratai said the operational capability of the Nigerian Army depends largely on the availability of requisite hardware, highly trained personnel, and other essential resources.
The security challenges facing our dear country manifest in the forms of terrorism, insurgency, separatist movements, and banditry, among others. Thus, there is no gainsaying the fact that the operational capability of the Nigerian Army today largely depends on the availability of requisite hardware, highly trained personnel, and other essential resources.
In his address, the Chairman, House Committee on Army, Rimade Shawulu, said the National Assembly will identify with the Nigerian Army in its efforts to create a transparent and accountable procurement system that will support increasing operational responsibilities.
One major area that we have actually faced as we try to build consensus on the need to open new windows of funding for the military is the recurring issue and allegations of lack of transparency and accountability. No doubt the Army and indeed the armed forces have been in the eye of the storm with regards to the allegations, confessions, and investigations by anti-corruption agencies.
Still talking security, gunman has killed 6 people, including a village head, in an attack on Sarari village in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State. Though Kaduna Police Command is yet to confirm the incident, but an indigent of the area told journalists that the attack left about 8 people seriously injured. According to eyewitness, the bandits stormed the village, moving from house to house and shooting the villagers indiscriminately. In the process, the village head was shot. The injured victims have been rushed to a primary health care center in Udua town, just a few kilometers away from the Chikun Gwari local government area of Kaduna State. Now, report says 6 policemen and 6 other people, including residents and bank customers, have been reportedly killed after some robbers stormed about 5 banks in the Offa local government area of Kwara State. The banks allegedly affected by the raids are the Guaranty Trust Bank, Zenith Bank, First Bank, and Eco Bank. The robbers, who numbered close to 30, blew up entrances into the banks with dynamite in an operation which lasted for more than an hour. They reportedly blocked roads from both Ilorin and Osogbo and entered Owode police station in the metropolis. They were said to have shot dead 4 policemen at the division, including some complaints in the process. Now, the Lagos State Police Command is on the trail of some gunmen who attacked a vehicle in Amuwo-Dofin area and killed the police escort, identified only as Sergeant Musa. The robbers were also said to have injured the driver of the vehicle and escaped with 3 million naira in the process. Report says the cop had escorted 2 officials of a plastic raw material company in the Nissan Almera to a Zenith Bank branch at Amuwo-Dofin around 2 p.m. to withdraw the cash. They were returning from the bank when the gunmen ambushed them in Babangida Road, Amuwo-Dofin, and opened fire on the car. The All Progressives Congress APC National Executive Committee NEC says it will take its final decision on the party's executive tenure extension on Monday. The national chairman of the party, John Odijoyegun, and the party publicity secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, disclosed this in Abuja at the end of a 3-hour meeting of ABC governors elected and the National Working Committee of the party.
The governors, the National Working Committee of our party decided to sit and look at the issues that were seemingly dividing us. And I want to say to you, with absolute satisfaction, absolute pride, that all the issues that you have been commenting about in the last 2 days have been completely and totally resolved. We are back in business as one.
The party spokesperson, Bolaji Abdullahi, said the technical committee constituted to look into the issue will submit its report early enough for consideration.
To say that the meeting on Monday is to endorse congresses or begin to plan for congresses. We don't have any evidence that the committee is recommending that there will be congresses. The position of NEC is that those who are currently serving in executive positions at all levels in the party should, at the expiration of their tenure in June, continue in acting capacity. That position still stands. Now, when the committee submits its report tomorrow, or when the NEC meets on Monday, we will now listen to the advice to be given to the committee, to be given to the party. Now, the NEC may now decide if the committee recommends that the position of NEC should be maintained, then there will be no issue. Then the president himself and those who have concern on whether the action that has been taken violates the constitution will have more confidence in the decision we have taken. But should the committee recommend that the congresses be held, then NEC will consider the report at the same time and decide whether to reverse its earlier position or not. But as I speak to you, there is no evidence, there is nothing that suggests that the committee will recommend this way or that way.
That the APC had on Tuesday constituted a 10-member technical committee headed by Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong to advise his leadership on its tenure elongation. Now, the Minister of Education, Adamu, says the number of candidates seeking admission into its 104 colleges across the country who registered for the 2018 National Common Entrance Examination are low. In a statement released in Abuja by the spokesperson of the Ministry of Education, Priscilla Ioma, who disclosed this, said only 28 candidates from Zamfara State registered for the examination. Ioma pleaded with the state government's heads of schools and interest groups to persuade school-age children in areas with low registration to register for the examination. According to the ministry, the directive had been given to leave the portal open for registration until April the 3rd. You're watching Superscreen News at 12. We'll take a break now. When we return, it'll be time for some business stories. Stay with us. Welcome back, and this is Superscreen News at 12. And now for some business stories. The federal government is aiming to create a job total of 570,000 jobs through the implementation of the focus labs under the Economic Recovery and Growth Plans. The Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udo Udoma, who disclosed this in Abuja during the ERGP Mid-Lab Syndication meeting. Udoma said the government is optimistic that given the number of projects that were likely to be approved for by the end of the lab process, the aim of resolving the interagency bottlenecks, which is one of the cardinal objectives of the labs, would have been achieved through job creation in the process. And still talking business, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, says any increase in the price of petrol as a result of the 5% levy on the product as stipulated in the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill that was recently passed by the National Assembly will not be welcomed by Nigerians. Reacting on the development, IPMAN's National Vice President Abubakar Makandi said journalists that any little hike in the petrol price would not be accepted by Nigerians. You will recall that at the plenary last Wednesday, the Senate harmonized the version of the PIGB which seeks to bundle the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and merge its subsidiaries such as Department of Petroleum Resources and the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency into one. Now the federal government says a total of 1.4 trillion naira is now being spent annually by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) as subsidy on premium motor spirit, also known as petrol. The federal government described the amount as under recovery, maintaining that the national oil firm had been shouldering the huge financial burden because NNPC is the country's supplier of last resort when it comes to the provision of petroleum products. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachiku, who disclosed this, said the ministry planned to unveil an infrastructure rebirth for the oil and gas sector in 2 months. And now still talking business, the African Developmental Bank, ADB, says it has approved a $50 million risk participation agreement for commercial banks to address the continent's trade finance markets demand. The fund will enable banks operating in Nigeria and other African countries to provide credit to their customers, including small and medium enterprises that are involved in trade within the region. AFDB, who disclosed this in a statement, said the board of directors of the lender approved $50 million unfunded risk participation agreement for commercial banks on March 27th. According to the bank, the risk participation will leave leveraged commercial bank support to African issuing banks seeking to expand their trade finance operations in their countries. We'll take a short break now. When we return, it'll be time for some foreign stories and some sports news. Stay with us.